Augustine, a man who has endured the weight of years and grapples with a relentless terminal affliction, finds himself marooned at a solitary observatory on Earth. His sole purpose is to monitor the valiant expeditions of intrepid astronauts as they embark on the quest to discover a sanctuary for humanity, a planet that can cradle human existence. As the world evacuates around him, Augustine remains behind, dwelling in the observatory's solitude, where sleep, sustenance, and solitude are his only companions. Within the annals of history, Augustine once stood before hundreds, his oratory prowess captivating minds as he unraveled the enigmatic tapestry of celestial bodies that might nurture life, including the enigmatic K-23. Amidst the euphoria of a post-lecture soiree, a captivating woman beckoned him into an exchange of witticisms. Under the shimmering stars, they shared libations, and she probed the veracity of his recently penned tome about K-23. A jolt catapults Augustine to the present day, prompting him to engage with the observatory's labyrinthine computer systems. He endeavors to discern which cosmic missions endure the relentless march of time. Most languish in dormancy, but one tantalizingly captures his attention, the Aether mission. Augustine pores over images of the crew and stumbles upon a photograph that unfurls a tidal wave of memories. A woman whose face he recognizes. Determined to reestablish contact, he sets his sights on reaching out to them. Sully, the woman in the photograph, stands as an integral part of Aether's small, close-knit crew, bearing the weight of communication responsibilities. Her dreams teem with the haunting specter of being stranded upon K-23, her pregnant form a testament to the close bond she shares with Captain Aid, the father of her unborn child. An inexplicable signal jolts her from her reverie, setting the crew on edge. Back on Earth, Augustine's monotonous existence is abruptly punctuated by a wailing fire alarm. He traces the cacophony to its source in the observatory's kitchen, extinguishing the blaze, only to stumble upon a heart-wrenching sight. A young girl, inexplicably left behind amidst the chaos, cowers beneath the sink. Augustine's frantic attempts to summon help through the radio yield naught but silence. As he searches for clues about the girl's identity, Augustine discovers her makeshift sanctuary within a storage unit. Gently, he attempts to convey his inability to provide refuge, yet she remains mute or unwilling to engage. Augustine conjures a simple repast, and in the afterglow of their shared meal, the girl sketches a fragile yet poignant image, a flower, an iris. Augustine grasps the unspoken message. Iris is her name. Augmented by a renewed determination, Augustine perseveres in his quest to establish contact with Aether, but the void of silence prevails. Meanwhile, Iris yearns for closeness, venturing into Augustine's chamber, where she fashions a nest in a corner, surrendering to slumber on the floor. Simultaneously, Aether grapples with its own communication challenges, cut off from the world they once knew. Their voyage back from the enigmatic K-23, bearing the revelation that this distant orb cradles the potential for human existence, is fraught with uncertainty. As Augustine undergoes his ritualistic blood transfusions, Iris gazes skyward through the observatory's glass canopy, her gaze drawn to the glittering stars above. Decades earlier, a youthful Augustine was ensconced in his study when the same woman from the soiree berated him for neglecting her calls. Frustration brewed as she falsely claimed to have terminated her pregnancy, chastising him for squandering his life on research at the expense of cherished relationships. In the contemporary realm, Augustine ventures into the unforgiving cold, inspecting the antenna that governs his communication with the world. A ghastly sight unfolds before him, a multitude of avian creatures fallen and gasping for life in the unrelenting snow. A realization dawns on Augustine. The observatory's feeble antenna is insufficient to reach Aether, but hope gleams on the horizon at Lake Hazen, formerly a weather station housing a potent antenna. He imparts this dire truth to Iris, for they must flee the encroaching maelstrom and make their way to Lake Hazen, their solitary lifeline to Aether, before the abyss consumes them. Augustine, enveloped in layers of insulated garments, secures Iris similarly, equipping her with goggles and a vital breathing apparatus, her constant companion in this treacherous odyssey. With utmost urgency, they gather the essentials from their observatory abode and set out on a jet ski, their fate entwined with the unforgiving elements. Augustine and Iris find respite within a frigid tent beneath the snow-laden heavens. Their journey unfolds, revealing the remnants of an ill-fated aircraft the following day. Upon closer inspection, Augustine discovers the lifeless form of a young boy. Inexplicably, he instructs Iris to remain while he explores the wreckage. Amongst the debris, a gravely wounded man clutches his leg, pleading for salvation. Curiosity lures Iris into the morbid tableau, but Augustine swiftly guides her back outside. Driven by compassion, Augustine complies with the man's harrowing request, ending his suffering with a single shot. In the aftermath, a haunting flashback grips Augustine. A memory of the woman from the party departing, taking their daughter, a child he never had the privilege of meeting. On Aether, the crew gathers around as Maya performs an ultrasound on Sully's expectant abdomen, unveiling the revelation of a forthcoming daughter. Excitement fills the air as they embark on the quest for the perfect name. During their jet ski journey, Iris spots a distant bunker, their sanctuary for the night. Augustine assesses its suitability and prepares their refuge. As Iris sketches a woman's portrait, Augustine recognizes the subject and fondly recounts memories. In a moment of profound significance, Iris breaks her silence, inquiring if he loved her. That fateful night, the bunker succumbs to flooding, sinking into the encroaching ice. Augustine rushes Iris to safety, urging her to flee as he salvages their belongings. He narrowly escapes, but their jet ski plunges beneath the icy depths. A desperate swim leaves him gasping for air, clawing his way out of the frigid waters. With Iris, they face an arduous journey to Lake Hazen, stripped of supplies. As they trudge through a blinding snowstorm, Augustine detects the menacing presence of circling wolves. Shotgun blasts disrupt the ominous circle, but amid the chaos, Iris vanishes. Augustine's frantic calls yield no response. After a futile search, he collapses in the snow, only to be met by a spectral vision. The woman from the party, now recognized as Iris, he cradles her in gratitude for her reappearance. The following day, they finally reach Lake Hazen, urgently attempting contact with Aether. Sully picks up Augustine's signal, but the ensuing conversation is plagued by interference and misunderstanding. Their link dissipates, and an alarm pierces the ship as Aether navigates the uncharted sector. Besieged by a relentless asteroid barrage, the vessel sustains critical damage, and their communication equipment lies in ruin. The crew must now undertake the perilous task of repairing the ship from the exterior. Maya, Sully, and Adi prepare to venture into the abyss, with Maya, a newcomer to spacewalks, grappling with profound anxiety and physical distress. Despite her trepidation, they set out, endeavoring to mend their fractured lifeline. As the intrepid crew pressed on, their vessel found itself under a renewed barrage of asteroid assaults. Once the celestial onslaught abated, the crew swiftly embarked on the critical task of ensuring everyone's well-being. Amongst them, Maya, though shaken, emerged unharmed. Yet, as she made her way back into the spacecraft, her observant eyes caught an unsettling sight. Crimson droplets, defying gravity, danced ominously within her helmet. Ade and Sully, driven by urgency, hurriedly ushered Maya back inside, and Mitchell, with the medkit in hand, joined the fray. The moment Maya's helmet was removed, a disconcerting volume of blood flowed out from her suit and into the ship. Panic gripped Maya, her voice trembling as she articulated her dread at the sight. Ade and Mitchell worked feverishly to mend her wounds, while Sully, with a soothing demeanor, did her best to comfort Maya. Despite their valiant efforts, the crew found themselves powerless to seal the wound inflicted by the asteroid's debris, and in a heart-wrenching turn of events, Maya succumbed. Grief-stricken, the crew mourned their loss. their sorrow briefly eclipsed as they cast their eyes upon Earth for the first time since their departure. Their joy was short-lived, for they beheld a desolate, irradiated Earth that sent shivers down their spines. Aether's communication with Augustine was reestablished, and grim news awaited them. Augustine conveyed that returning to Earth was no longer an option, as he remained the sole survivor, with all others evacuated. Their hopes of rescue dashed, the crew grappled with the devastating realization that their only escape route was a return to K-23. In a resolute tone, Tom voiced his intent not to return to K-23, but to seek answers about the fate of his family. He sought Aid's permission to take a re-entry pod back to Earth, a request that Aid granted. As Tom readied himself for the perilous journey, Mitchell, with a heavy heart, confided in him about the loss of his own daughter, who would have been Maya's age if fate had been kinder. Moved by compassion, Tom agreed to carry Maya's remains back to Earth. With bittersweet farewells to Sully and Aid, Tom and Mitchell departed in the re-entry pod, leaving behind their comrades. Sully reached out to Augustine to apprise him of the crew's fate and their decision to return to K-23. In a candid exchange, Sully expressed her admiration for Augustine's work, but lamented the missed opportunity to meet him in person. Augustine, intrigued, inquired about her name and listened as she described K-23, all the while concealing a profound secret. He was her estranged father, and the little girl named Iris, whom he thought he saw, had been a haunting hallucination all along. As Aether ventured deeper into a communication blackout zone, Aid and Sully remained as the last survivors, resolute in their mission to return to K-23 and potentially rebuild civilization. Do you think Aid and Sully could survive? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Flick Spoilers signing off.